Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw, and I'm here with Omar Bani-Hani, who is the marketing manager for Visit Jordan. Now, Jordan just happens to be one of our favorite countries. We've been there a couple of times. Amazing place to visit, and of course, we're just dying to get back there once this is all over. Omar, first of all, how are you doing? Where are you right now?
I'm well. I'm in Arlington, Virginia, just outside of Washington D.C. and yeah, staying at
Yeah, so
home
you're,
like
you're not in
everybody else.
Amman right now. Let's make it clear.
No, no, I'm not. I'm not in Jordan.
Okay.
Missed my opportunity to go before the lockdown happened.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry that's the case, and hopefully you'll get back there soon when it's over. But
Of course.
let's obviously you're talking to folks in Jordan all the time, and what is the situation right now in Jordan with the coronavirus pandemic? Has the country been hurt by this? Did it shut down? Is it opening up? What's the status?
So we've been affected by the coronavirus, like many other destinations. I think most of the effect at the moment is on the travel industry and on the economy, if anything, really. The tourism industry had to basically stop, which is, tourism contributes to about 15% of the GDP in Jordan. So this was definitely something that hurt us as an industry in Jordan. But the positive side is that the Jordanians, themselves were not as affected as other places. So we're very happy to report that we've only had about less than 600 cases all in all. The country did have to take a lot of extreme measures to make sure that that happens, and the numbers get contained, and they don't rise like a lot of other places. So the country did put in place a shutdown. People were basically sheltering at home for weeks at a time, about 6 weeks. But I'm also happy to report that the country opened up internally. Of course, everybody has to wear, the proper PPE, the masks and exercise social distancing and so forth. But that's the situation. People can go back to work now. The country is basically building up, getting back on its feet, and that is great. But of course, we haven't opened our ports and borders yet. But we're taking it one step at a time. So where we hurt, we definitely hurt, I think, economically. But the Jordanians, the vast majority of them are safe, and we will continue to do everything we can to make sure they continue to be safe. So we're
That's
looking out for our own people at the moment.
that's great. Now, so basically, restaurants, stores, hotels are now reopened.
They are reopening, so it is gradual. The first thing, so as the shutdown was going on, only essential workers can go to work. Some government workers, and also healthcare workers. But then now you can go back to work. Not essential and non-essential can go back to work. But again, it's very gradual. There's a lot of measures that they're taking to ensure that even though you're going to work, but you got to make sure that the workplace is safe for your workers first, and then for the clients second. So that is taking place, but definitely we're ahead of the curve. So we're working on these measures to be ready.
That's great news, and I know when you can open up the borders and people can come in, hopefully they'll realize that this is a safe place to go. Right now, I feel like getting on a plane with you and just flying there if you got everything is open. But that's great. Let's talk about the tourism numbers. What were they looking like before this crisis? Was this year going to be a really good year for Jordan, do you think?
Yeah, so the good part was that, and we've been telling everybody about this and thanking the industry for the help that they've given us. But, from 2017 until 2019, we've seen record numbers of visitors coming in from the US and Canada and North America in general, but also from the world. 2019, we closed the year around 17% increase in number of visitors from the US, and about 13% increase in 2019 from Canada, which were great. 2020 was looking even better than 2019. So 2019 actually became a benchmark year, a new benchmark year. It was a record year. We did also, as you might have seen in the news, we've had over 1 million visitors to Petra, which is the first time in history.
That's amazing,
Um,
and it's well worth the visit. Believe me, I've been a couple times, and it's an
of
amazing place.
course.
But the rest of Jordan's great too. So it's one of the things I think your director Malia asked for 10 years, more than that actually, probably 20 years, was telling me you got to go, and it's not just Petra. And she was so
So
right.
much more.
And it's
Of
amazing, but
course,
it's
yeah.
amazing that you hit those numbers on Petra.
Of course, yeah. And then 2020 even, started really high and really good. The indicators were looking all very positive. And we have bookings. Of course, we have access to information from the private sector and advanced bookings, and they were looking fantastic. However, of course, the pandemic happened, and everybody got affected, including us. But yeah, 2020 was supposed to be a really good year for us. But again, we're gonna have to wait and see, and people have to wait a little bit longer
Mhm.
until we can have them come to Jordan soon.
That's great. Now let's talk about your strategy going forward to bring back visitors to Jordan when the time is right. What kind of marketing are you doing, sort of tentatively, or especially in the U.S. and North America?
Mm.
And if not, when do you expect to roll out a campaign like that?
So the strategy has been obviously for the first period when the pandemic hit, we were in crisis mode, right? Trying to understand what's happening, making sure that we extend help to the travel trade, making sure that they can get their people out of Jordan if they need to leave or anything like that. So we did a good amount of that work. Um, However, at the moment, we've been working on a strategy, a very comprehensive strategy for the US and Canada. That strategy includes things like we want to rely heavily on the ambassadors of Jordan, right? So members of the media that have been to Jordan, consumers, actual travelers that have been to Jordan. Working on one phase is dreaming about Jordan, where it was, and what people have done in Jordan, and how amazing an experience it was. So sharing a lot of those stories on social media primarily, putting out some videos, some content online as well about what Jordan is all about. Um, that is just one way. We're dreaming. Let's all dream together about all these places you want to go to, and let's make sure that Jordan's on top of your mind when you're planning your next visit. So that's one strategy. So kind of making sure they understand what Jordan is all about. But the second phase, or the other phase that happens simultaneously, is educating the trade.
Right.
Primarily the travel advisors, right? They're the backbone of the industry here in the US and Canada. We want to support them. We want to work with them. So we've spent a lot of time listening. I think that was very important. We listened a lot. We came back with a lot of the lessons from what we listened to. And it was, give me information that is valid, that is timely. They want realistic product, not just, okay, we're going to dream. We all want to dream about going to Petra, right? Everybody wants to go there, but we want them to know that this is the information that's coming out. We're going to be sending that information as soon as it comes available. So any development, we're making sure it comes out in a timely fashion. But then we're also working on education. So we have worked with a lot of the travel trade memberships, the consortia, and a lot more on reestablishing a lot of the educational material that we've had before, putting it back up as well to make sure that they can learn. But also we're working on, we're in the development phase now. We're nearing the launch. We're going to be launching a webinar series. I don't want to say just webinar, but at the same time, it's really a travel series in Jordan, something where we do short webinars or short sessions where we tell them about one specific part of the country, and it's short, sweet, but then also very informative. Something that and also entertaining. That's one thing you need to make sure. So we're not trying to burden people with the webinars. We're changing the strategy completely. So that's going to be coming out to the travel advisors. But then the last phase of the strategy as well is working with the travel leaders, right? Like the leaders in the industry, making sure that we listen and we're also staying up to date, making sure that we know when bookings are coming in, or when we start seeing a shift, that we're ahead of the game, making sure that we have, the travel advisor has everything they need when the time is right to book. So that's really what we're doing. So working with the trade, educating the travel advisors and connecting with them, and then also working with the consumers, making sure they understand what Jordan is about and dream with us about, the near future when everybody can go back.
Well, I know you've had a very active and a very good training program already for travel advisors out there in the
Yes.
market, and I know that many have been educated by that way. Now we have another level, I guess, to tell them what's going on. And where's all this education going to, and
So
webinar or whatever going to be?
So we're going to be working with TA Connect. This is the platform where we house our friends in industry in our communication platform. We will be sending that information to them. I mean, we've been in touch with them. We have thousands of travel advisors in our database that we reach out to regularly, and we will be using that platform to do it. And then we also going to be working with a lot of the travel consortia to make sure that they send that information out to their members so they also don't miss out on this opportunity. But also, just going back to your point, yes, we do have a specialist course, a Jordan specialist course, really well put together. It's an excellent tool. And it is housed on Travel Agent Academy, so it's up, and great information in there. If you got the time, please go ahead and participate, and let us know what you think.
No, that's great. And then, you had a lot of great information. You got more to come, especially relating to what we're dealing with now. And I think travel advisors will appreciate that. Now, let's turn on. I mean, obviously, to get their clients there, they gotta book air. And have you heard anything about? And I don't know what Royal Air Jordanian is doing, or is there any idea about when flights will restart, specifically, obviously, from the U.S. to Jordan, or maybe there are flights now. I don't know. And I mean, obviously, we're all in the dark on this, but what have you heard, I guess, about when this might happen?
Of course, now starting at it was March 17th when travel was suspended to Jordan, right? So air travel was stopped to all international travel. But then that said, Royal Jordanian Airlines is the only airline that flies direct nonstop into the U.S. and Canada. So they go to destinations like they have a flight to Montreal, they have Detroit, Chicago, and New York. Until now, nothing has changed. Now, of course, these flights are on hold. But the plan is to go back and operate like usual when the borders open. So that's an opportunity for the travel trade to understand and learn maybe perhaps about that airline. I'm sure they're going to be working with the travel trade on the next phase as well, and how we can make sure we can get airlift and travelers into Jordan from the US and Canada. So that's really it at the moment. Now, of course, you can travel to Jordan through many other destinations connecting, but again, that information is going to be, just keep an eye out on all the other airlines as well. Many of them serve Jordan as a destination. But Royal Jordanian would be, I think, my best bet at the moment for them to come back. They would be probably one of the first ones to come back.
Are you seeing any bookings through different tour operators or different entities for the rest of this year to Jordan, and also for 2021?
We do. We're working with people like Royal Jordanian to kind of just gauge, right? We're talking to the travel consortia, to the memberships that we have, and also to the private sector in Jordan, the airlines. A lot are saying, of course, the vast majority canceled or postponed. However, some are still holding on. They're like, this is going to come back, and I want to be the one with a contract with the airline. I want to be the one with some blocked seats. So we're seeing, which is really, really good. We're seeing them holding on. So there's a number of tour operators in the U.S. and Canada, major ones, that still have seats on Royal Jordanian during this calendar year, and it's primarily for leisure travel. So this is a good indication. This is what this is telling us, is that they're holding on. Not just necessarily to the travel plans, but they're holding on to Jordan. I think there's a great amount of confidence in the destination and also in the airline. So now again, how much and will it stay, or all that? The airline is being very flexible, and I think that's enticing a lot of trade members to continue to keep those blocks. But again, everything can change. But at the moment, I could report back that there are some that are holding on, and they're betting on Jordan as one of the destinations that will come back, one of the first ones to come back.
No, that's good news, and I do know that actually a good part of the Middle East, fortunately, has certainly had cases, but nowhere near. You and I are in the hotbeds here in the United States. Unfortunately, it's kind of crazy. But let's talk a little bit about what's happening in Jordan right now in terms of now during this crisis. Are they working on tourism infrastructure improvements, new hotels, new attractions? And also, what new reasons are there to visit Jordan later this year and into 2021 for that matter?
So the Ministry of Tourism announced, that they're going to be helping out the private sector in Jordan, and tourism, of course, has been affected heavily. But the government has plans to rehabilitate some tourism sites. Of course, this could be the right time to do it, just because you have a lot more flexibility to do that. So they're going to be they have a major plan of rehabilitation of these sites. But then also the destination itself has been going through a lot the last few years. Multiple new hotel properties and new products. We had the Fairmont in Amman open, the W Hotel, St. Regis, they're building the Ritz-Carlton in Amman. So just, lots of new 5-star luxury properties. We've also had two resorts open in Aqaba as well. One is the Hyatt in the Isla Resort project. And then there's also a new luxury collection property as well on Saraya in Aqaba. Amongst many others as well. These are just, properties, hotels. There's also a new golf course in Aqaba that is great. But aside from just that and the infrastructure, but there's also new product. Jordan has been known the last few years to be, to lead the way in the region for adventure travel. Fueled by some new developments such as the Jordan Trail.
Yeah, I remember we tried that out as you were there. We tried that out when it was first launched, and it was really amazing. It's more of a people to people type of experience where you hike along that trail and meet the locals, and actually can stay in local homes, and it really was a very different kind of experience.
It's great. So, it takes you through 52 local communities. You can cross the entire country on foot. I mean, obviously not everybody wants to do that, but you have the option to do a half-day tour, hikes, or 2-day, 3 days. And the most unique part of it, as you just said, was, connecting with local communities, having really, real off the beaten path experiences. Another product was the Jordan Bike Trail, which mimics the Jordan Trail, but then you just do it on a bike, which is really nice as well. And again, as you were saying earlier, also connecting with local communities, working with, what we did a couple of years ago was work with Tourism Cares on introducing something called the Jordan Meaningful Travel Map. And you're aware of that. That is, us promoting a meaningful travel map of Jordan with 12 social enterprises that offer real unique experiences, and they're off the beaten path as well, right? Like, this is when you're visiting Jerash, a major Greco-Roman city in the north. You're also going to have lunch at a local social enterprise where they have these recipes that have been handed down for generations. You can also go and buy, a locally made handicrafts in Jordan as well. You can go home and say, I've actually bought something from Jordan that is made in Jordan. You know what I mean? A lot of these experiences, you're touring the country, you're getting to meet locals, and you're getting to have meaningful experiences. But then at the same time, you're also helping those local communities. So this is, some of the things that we want people to understand, and to also look forward to see when they come back, when tourism bounces back, hopefully very soon.
Yeah, well, I was just looking around here because, believe it or not, I have my Tourism Cares Visit Jordan T-shirt hanging around here in the room. I can't get it right now, so I'm not going to go look for it. But I use it all the time, and that was several years ago when we went. But when we went, it was a marvelous time. I think I'm good with about an hour hike, and then the big, huge meal that we had at this house with a local family that was just the food just pouring out, and it was then I had to walk another hour, I think, to work that off. But it was just a amazing experience, and all of that trip was with Tourism Cares was just an eye opener for me. And I had been to Jordan many years ago for a Jordan tourism conference, so it was it really was. It showed all different sides to Jordan, from the local community experiences, up to the luxury that you were talking about, with all these new hotels coming in, resorts in Aqaba, and then of course the antiquities, Petra, being in a Bedouin tent in the desert. It does get cold, by the way. It was just
in the winter months. Yes.
Yeah, no. Well, it was fine. It was an amazing experience. Riding a camel, of course. There was just so much diversity in the country, and so much to do that it is a place that you can keep coming back to and experiencing more, and certainly spending at least a week and maybe more exploring. But and to hear that you're doing even more infrastructure improvements and more more things to help tourism it's amazing, and it's all the more reason to go back.
We've always bet on tourism as our friend in the economy in Jordan and as Jordanians, and we're going to continue to bet on it. We're very happy with our tourism that comes into the country, where it gives Jordan an opportunity to showcase who we are and what we do and what we have to the world. So this is definitely we're more invested than we have ever been.
Now, are there any other messages you want to get out to travel advisors about Jordan, about your new campaigns and training?
Yeah, so this is a very interesting time, right? We're all going through this together. But rest assured that we as a tourism board and as Jordan and as Jordanians, we're committed to working with the travel advisors and with the travel trade and connecting with the travelers. I want to leave here today with a couple of positive notes. We will be out there talking to you guys about Jordan, so look out for information that's coming out from us about some travel sessions about Jordan, teaching you some things that you might have not seen or experienced in Jordan. And the other thing I want to tell travel advisors today is, you've always been the backbone of the industry. You've always been very important to everybody in all destinations and suppliers and many others in the industry. I just want to share this one note. So during a call with Travel Leaders Network earlier this week, I was very happy to hear about a couple of things that came up. They have a platform where they have consumers coming in, consumer leads that they disseminate out to the travel advisors. They've been seeing an increase in leads and also in the quality of the leads that are coming in. And they're seeing over 50% increase in those leads week over week. I think Americans or North Americans are very eager to travel. They're eager to plan. And the other really nice thing is that we learned from them that there is a big increase in the number of leads of consumers and travelers, potential travelers, that have never worked with a travel advisor before. So that's something to think about, right? This is something to really understand. I think a lot of travelers would want to call their travel advisor today and maybe moving forward as well, because they learned that the clients that were out stranded somewhere and needed to come back, the ones that had a travel advisor were able to get that done, versus others that just relied on themselves. And that's just, that's one thing I want to leave you guys here with today. It's just a glimpse of hope. When things open up, I think the industry is going to change, and hopefully for the better.
Well,
so, again, thank you.
I certainly hope that you are right, and I think you are. I just wish it just didn't take some major crisis to once again prove the value of a travel advisor. We talk about these things, whether it's 9/11 or whether it's volcanoes erupting or major storms or all kinds of things that really make you understand the value of a travel advisor. And here we have probably the worst crisis that has hit certainly travel and travelers ever. And but now once again, travel advisors rise to the occasion, and they're there for their customers. Omar, thank you so much for taking the time to tell us about what's going on with Jordan, one of my favorite countries, as you can hear. And we hope to be you and I, we have to go. We have to go back
Yep.
very soon.
You and I will get on a flight as soon as things go back.
You got it. Absolutely. Well, listen, thanks once again.
Thank you.
I'm James Shillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.